Bitcoin has a wild week ahead of it. Starting today, we have a ton of macroeconomic events, plus more tariff news and indicators on if we're going to be in a recession. Before we get started, welcome back to the channel. My name's Doc. Throughout the day, I'm a resident physician, and on super early mornings and at night, I take you guys on my crypto and investing journey. We're not wasting any time here. We're not beating around the bush. We're getting right to it. Bitcoin right now sitting at 93,500. Coming back to test the bull market support band. For those who don't know, that is an SMA and an EMA of the 20 and 20 week moving averages. I do suspect we're going to come down and flirt with this over the next day or so. We got a ton of going on this week, and we're going to talk about that shortly. But as you're coming into the video, hit me with an early like and comment down below. What do you think we're going to get this week? So like we had mentioned, Bitcoin right now at 93,500. The top part of this bull market support band is right around 92,500. So just about a thousand points down, or $1,000 from where we are now. We kind of have, I don't want to say bearish momentum, but we have been trending down most of the weekend. And that's not unexpected for reasons that we're going to talk about here in just a sec. I put this tweet out earlier. I'll link this tweet down in the video description. But we got a lot going on starting Tuesday, but also there's going to be a ton of anticipation on Monday. Real quick before we get in that, link down below is going to be to the Discord, totally free, nothing to sell you, just building a rock solid community. We actually did an exclusive live stream today for the Discord. It was over 50 minutes. This is an awesome pair trade. Again, this is not a public video. I did it just for the Discord. So if you're interested in joining that, check it out down below. Okay, enough wasting time. This week, what do we have going on? It really is a jam-packed week. This is probably one of the busiest weeks that I can remember in crypto and the overall macro environment for quite some time. So on Tuesday, we have the JOLTS job openings and the consumer confidence. The JOLTS jobs opening is going to be really interesting because there's all of these recession fears. And we're going to talk about recessions here and the fears of that in just a second. I'm probably going to put that somewhere in my video description because it's true. We're going to get some data on that. But the real interesting thing is going to be like, okay, how many job openings do we have in anticipation of all this tariff shenanigans, right? We know there's kind of a lot going on there. And then obviously consumer confidence. Now, we already know consumer confidence. It's actually going to be in the toilet. I was looking at some charts earlier on Twitter. It's not good. So that's really not going to be a big surprise. Wednesday is the day. Bring your popcorn for Wednesday. All of the things are happening in so many different ways. Okay, so the big one is Q1 GDP. If you've been following the channel, you know that I've been talking about this quite a bit. This is April 30th. Now, the reason that Q1 GDP is so big is because everybody's expecting it to be lower, right? So Goldman Sachs, they're actually lowering their Q1 GDP to negative 0.2%. Okay, so it's negative, right? It actually doesn't matter if it's negative 0.1 or negative 0.3. All of the traditional media, Twitter, YouTube, everyone's going to say negative GDP. It's scary, right? It doesn't have to be, but that's the headline that they're going to run with. The Atlanta Fed, they are projecting, and guys, this is as of just like a couple weeks ago. You're getting the milk straight from the cow. This is the actual Atlanta Fed's Twitter, and this is on April 20th. They are now projecting Q1 GDP to be negative 2.5%. Now, right, there's more Feds that weigh in on this. This is just their model. But again, it doesn't matter because it's negative. Why do we care if this is negative? Well, one of the classical definitions of a recession is 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP. If we get this, right, if we get Q1 negative GDP, we're halfway there, right? We would just need a second quarter. And guess what? Q2 is not expected to be good too, because there's going to be these lingering tariffs that are currently paused right now, right? So I really, really do think Q1 is going to be negative. I hope I'm wrong, right? I'll be the first to admit if I'm wrong, but it really, really is leaning towards Q1 is going to be negative. So that would not be good. That in and of itself is going to spook the markets. The other thing is we're going to get core PCE inflation. Now, this is a rear view look at where inflation is. I watched an hour-long interview of Anthony Pompliano, him and I can't remember the other guy's name, but they were talking about ports. And that might not sound very sexy to you, right? But they can actually kind of track what like what products are coming in to the US by looking at ports and the logs of ports and projected shipments that are going to come into these ports within the next few weeks. And the previous inflation data that we had was from like January, February. There wasn't a whole lot of tariff scares. Well, guess what? As we get more and more PCE inflation datas, it's going to start picking up projections of what's happening, right? And that just makes sense. Yes, core PCE looks in the rearview mirror, but time is going to keep passing, right? And there's next to no ports, imports coming in right now from, we all know where, the big C. I don't want to get this video demonetized, but you know where it's coming from, right? So that's going to be bad because less things coming in. This could spike inflation. And Anthony Pompliano's guest, he's suggesting that this could be within the next 3 months, right? So something to look out for just to make sure you're putting on the radar. The big thing is going to be the Q1 GDP reading. I suspect this is probably going to be negative. The real question is, has the market already priced this in or not? The other two big things are Microsoft and Facebook, right? They have earnings on Wednesday. Now, really interesting, last week what happened with earnings was Tesla. They had like pretty shitty numbers for their earnings. I think sales were down 71% year over year. Like it was not good, right? They still went up. They went up for the past couple days after their earnings. So I suspect Facebook, i.e. Meta, they're actually going to have really good earnings, right? They do a lot of advertising space. Yes, I know Facebook has a open lawsuit / investigation going on right now. I actually loaded up when Facebook went down below $500. I have a ton of confidence in Facebook. They're going to get through it. So obviously I will be paying attention to those earnings. And guess what? That's why you guys subscribe to me, because I try to give you fast, reliable information that's super digestible. So if you're getting any value of this, hit the like button, subscribe. Let me know, what are you guys expecting for this week? So that's Wednesday. That's a big day. Bring your popcorn to that day. Thursday, we have initial jobless claims. That's going to be huge. Like that is really, really going to be big, especially once we get the core inflation PCE data. Is really going to kind of give us a better gauge of where we're going for the rest of Q2, right? Obviously Q2 is April, May, June. So that we're kind of in the middle of Q2, right? The other thing is we're getting some manufacturing data. This is going to be big. And then earnings for Apple and Amazon. I've also been buying a lot of Amazon. I know a lot of big KOLs have been buying Amazon as well. Sam from My Financial Friend, he's a fantastic channel. If you don't follow him, I'm sure you do follow him because he's awesome, right? He's been buying a lot of Amazon too. And then Friday, we get the US jobs reports. So a lot going on this week as far as data. And I get it. Like this is a crypto channel and you might be thinking like, gosh, Doc, why are you talking about earnings for all these different companies? Trust me, it is going to impact the overall stock market, which in turn will affect Bitcoin. I do suspect kind of where we're sitting at right now, Bitcoin may come down to test its bull market support band. Now, personally, I'm hoping we kind of do something like this. We come down here and then we get a bounce back up. Hopefully some of this data that we get is good and we can come back to retest six figures, i.e. $100,000. The reason that I say retest is I do think at some point we are going to go back and test $100,000. Now, the reason that I keep using the word test is 100,000. It's a psychological number, right? We may have to kind of tap on the glass a few times up at 100 before we finally break through. Now, I have no idea what's going to happen. I do not have a crystal ball, right? This isn't financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I do think this move is going to come at some point. I just can't tell you when, right? Obviously, kind of the other thing that can muddy the water is if we get tweets from certain people, that's obviously going to influence the market in a really, really big way. So we talked about all the events that are happening this week. We also talked about like, okay, negative GDP, what's going on there? Well, the other kind of thing we talked about the recession losses is that banks, they also have a ton of unrealized losses that they're going to be dealing with. This is a 33% increase from the prior quarter. Now, the one thing that's not entirely overly concerning about this is they've been dealing with this since 2022 when we had that mini recession. Nonetheless, it just shows that the strength of the market may not be as strong as some people may lead you to believe. So I just want you to know the reason that I'm showing you this data is like things are happening in the background. And I really do think it's a matter of when, not if we get a recession. And hopefully that's not till 2026. So we can get a nice rally in Bitcoin. That's my base case. So there's going to be a lot of chop this week, right? Lots of chop. There's going to be lots of trading opportunities. If you're interested in trading, my BTCC link is going to be down below. You can get a 10% bonus on first time deposits. You can use a ton of leverage on BTCC, up to 500x on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and you can do like 50x on a ton of projects as well. Like I have leverage plays in on Caspa, I have some on Sol, I have some on Sui, and then I have some like smaller degen stuff in as well. I really like the platform. No KYC, no VPN. If you're interested in leverage trading, this is kind of more for more experienced folks. My link's gonna be down below. They're a partner of the channel that helps me out. If you have any questions about leverage trading, boom, let me know in the Discord. I will try to help out as much as I can. We also, like I said, we talked about the live stream. So really, I genuinely do appreciate everyone's help with that. We hit 7,000 subs, which is kind of wild. Our past few videos have been doing really well. So that really comes down to you. The last thing that I want to leave with was we got some really cool charts from Into the Cryptoverse. Real quick too, investwithdoc.com. If you have any questions, throw your email in there. All my contact stuff's up there. Okay, so futures tomorrow morning, they're going to be opening kind of negative. Here's the thing. I'm not super worried about this. They're barely negative. All of this can change, like I said, with a few tweets from we know who. Plus, if we have good earnings, I'm really not too worried about the stock market right now and Bitcoin, because even if it does have a little bit of turbulence, I do think we'll recover relatively easy. Okay, I want to end with this chart because I thought this was like kind of puts things into perspective. So this is Into the Cryptoverse. This is Benjamin Cohen's website. He has a lot of really, really awesome charts on there if you're a member of his website. It's a little bit on the pricey side, but gosh, there is a ton of alpha on here. So right now what we're looking at is the Bitcoin market cycle bottom ROI. All this means is it looks at the ROI, that's the x-axis here, and it shows what the ROI is, right? So the most current cycle is this pink line, right? So I think, let's just see, where are we at right now? We are at roughly a 6x from the bottom, right? This is measuring from the bottom. And if we look at cycle 4, which was this 2021 cycle, we went all the way up to like close to 20. And then cycle 3, which was 2017, it was stupid high. It was like 100. We're not going to get those big of returns. But the reason that I'm showing this is if you just look in comparison, this cycle, at least measured from the bottom, the pink line, right? It's underperforming prior cycles. Now, this is looking at the 2021 peak. If you look at April instead of November, because, right, yes, I do know that crypto kind of died in November of 2021, but a lot of people think that the cycle top should have been April, right? Remember, we had that double top? This is what it looks like if we did the measuring from the April peak, right? So kind of a lot of things to look at here. Basically, what I'm saying is there could still be gas left in the tank for this to run up, right? The other thing is, and we'll end on this, is the monthly returns, right? So April, we still got a couple days left in April. We're up roughly 10%, which is great. Like, I absolutely love that. May is going to be an interesting month. If we look at the most recent post-halving May, which would be 2021, it was a brutal month, negative 36%. Now, I don't put a whole lot of weight in this because this cycle really doesn't look a whole lot like 2021. It really, in my opinion, looks more like 2017. Yes, this was another post-halving year. And in May of 2017, we had a 73% return increase, which would be wild, right? Literally would be wild. If we just go ahead and put this in the old Google calculator, and yes, I am putting this in the calculator because I'm tired. It's super early Monday morning. If we take this times 1.73, where would that put Bitcoin? I don't know, 164 grand if we followed this 73% increase in May of 2017. Now, this isn't my base case, but I'm just showing you that things can move fast, right? So a lot of data happening this week, a lot of big economic events. Let me know, what do you guys think is going to happen this week? And honestly, I read all the comments. So genuinely, let me know your thoughts on this. And like, do you think we're going to have a negative Q1 GDP? And if we do, is it already priced in? Because I'm seeing a lot of folks talk about, hey, it could already be priced in, which that wouldn't surprise me, to be honest with you. Anyways, we're going to wrap it up there. If you got any value out of this, hit the like button, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you guys on my next video.